have to be involved in it.
Know, and I am. I have my plan ready to go. Hey, Facebook, happy Monday, everybody. Hopefully you have
You find Assassin Mike.
Yes.
We got Mike to talk podcast business for like 25 minutes.
I know.
25 minutes. It was long. That's why we're late, everybody. I hate being late.
It's fine. It's fine.
It's always, it's ballpark.
It's never 5:30. It needs to be 5:45. That's what I told you.
At best, 5:45.
At best. Yes, exactly.
Anyway, so we're going to have fun talking Disney tonight. We're getting ready. We're actually planning for the 12-hour live show. We might switch it up for the 10th anniversary, so stand by for details on that. But we love having that because we love raising money for Give Kids the World. Got the podcast cruise coming up here in 30-some days. Oh, man, it's so close.
Crazy pants.
So close. Hey, James. All right, so we're going to answer your listener questions. We're rocking because everything seems to be working. So when that is... It's like
don't Disney, you just jinxed it, Mike.
Live is like Disney. Like if it's working, just get those fingers rolling until it conks out. So
you just jinxed it.
That lesson that 9 years of IT has taught me that. I should have a degree in crashology. All right, here we go.
I feel like that's a one-way or a 3028 show, crashology. That needs to be one of theirs. Yeah.
Could be. Because there are a lot of attractions that have like simulated crashes or like, stuff going wrong. Not really necessarily.
I mean, you go to hell and
we're doing the snowboard. Like a test track, you almost hit a wall. Yeah. In Winnie the Pooh, you go through that ride where I think you're hallucinating.
Yeah, you're definitely hallucinating.
Heffalumps and woozles.
Yes.
This thing freaks me. Hey, Joanne in London.
What's up?
It's got to be late there. Sorry, this is a late night show.
It is late in London. I already know that for sure. It's like 11.
This is the Quiet Storm coming to you from Heathrow Airport. All right, here we go. We got to get to business. All right, 1488. Welcome to episode 1488 of the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rallman from BeOurGuestPodcast.com and one of the senior agents over at the Magic for Less Travel. Happy Wednesday to you. Thanks so much for checking in here. Pre Memorial Day weekend to kick off the summer this weekend. Man, I can't wait. Actually, it was a little bit more fun when I was a teacher because you could kick the kids out and know that you're going to the pool, but it's still awesome. I love it. My wife's excited. I can tell you that much. So we are going to have a great time answering your listener questions today for the first time in forever, what it feels like. We have all three of us here, so we're going to have some fun today.
For 1 week and 1 week only.
Maybe, yeah, exactly. Joining me from DisneyWorldAfterAll.com, TouringPlans.com, and the Mouse for Less, we have Rikki. Rikki, what's going on? Welcome back.
Oh, I'm back, and then I'm gone again. It's the life.
We'll be back next Friday. Maybe not Wednesday, but Friday.
No, we'll definitely next Friday. Maybe not Wednesday. Yeah. So it's crazy. It's crazy. That's it.
Is. Well, I mean, it's a holiday weekend, so
it is.
All right. Also joining us, we have the co-owner of the Magic for Less Travel, Pam Forrester. Happy Wednesday, Pam. What's going on?
Happy Wednesday. And I am not this week. Next week. I'm trying to keep my week straight here, but I will be on my way to the media event for Galaxy's Edge opening in Disneyland, I will say.
So. Your luggage, please.
I know, right?
I'm small and tiny. I fit.
I'm so excited. And here's what I want to hear from, because I've been trying not to read anything about Smuggler's Run.
Yes.
But now I'm starting to think about how sick Star Tours makes me.
Uh-oh.
I know, right?
Yeah.
So I'm trying to, so people will have to post here in the comments because I know everyone stays up on this, except for me, who's been trying to avoid information. Am I going to be okay? Is it going to be like Star Tours?
I haven't really said a lot about it.
I know.
That's it. You're going to be one of the first to experience it, and you're going to be able to report back to us if you get motion sick or not.
No, I really don't want that to happen.
Just take some Dramamine beforehand and you'll be fine. I think that'll be what you're going to have to do. Or send me in your place. I don't get motion sick on anything except Tower of Terror. So I think I'll be fine. Just send me in your place.
I mean, I'm going to experience it. Let's hope I don't make a fool out of myself. Should I bring my own little
bucket? Well, yes.
The one thing that I have heard is that if you hurl, it is blue. So.
Well, there's going to be blue and green milk. So.
It'll definitely probably be green. So, anyway. So stand by. We have coverage from Star Wars Galaxy's Edge media event in Disneyland coming up soon. So
crazy.
Crazy,
right.
man.
You're going to love this one, Rikki. We're heading out to Jefferson City, Missouri for our first
Hey,
question.
I know where that's at.
That's right. Tisha's got a question. She says, hello, Mike. Hello from Missouri State Capital, Jefferson City. My husband and I are both educators and seasoned Disney travelers. He'll be spending my birthday on June 26th in the Magic Kingdom before heading to my parents' house in Daytona Beach. Is this your question? This sounds a lot like a lot of things you do.
What the heck?
You have a lot of parallels in
My
that.
in-laws live in Jefferson City, basically. So
You just got back from Daytona Beach.
True.
I did.
Anyway, your pseudonym is Tisha. All right.
Yeah.
Anyway, so she says, my husband is working on his doctorate in education and needs to remotely log into his doctoral thesis class by computer that evening. For the life of me, I can't think of a quiet spot where he can sit at a table with his computer and be able to focus on his class for an hour to an hour and a half. Any ideas? I applaud his willingness to take me to Disney World for my birthday and still prioritize his class. I love your podcast and listen frequently while walking in the neighborhood. Thank you so much, Tisha. All right, so we got to come up with a quiet place. You got to love somebody working on their doctoral thesis at the Magic Kingdom. This
Right.
is creativity, and this is love of your wife. So I love that. I was trying to think. So because you're not going to find it totally like it's a Magic Kingdom. I mean, come on now. But maybe upstairs Columbia Harbor House, not during a dinner rush. That might be a place. There's also a place behind Sleepy Hollow. They took out the tables when I was down there at the beginning of the month, but that's kind of a quiet spot. But maybe I would just hop on the monorail and go to a resort, I think. I mean, because it wouldn't be that long. Rikki, what do you say to this? Where would you find a quiet spot to do like a class for an hour and a half?
I mean, if it wasn't in the evening, I would say Tom Sawyer Island. That would be the perfect place to go. But unfortunately, it's evening and that will be closed. I was thinking of like, oh God, it won't be quiet though because you've got music everywhere. I was thinking like that art festival area, like that side street on Main Street, USA. I don't know I don't know if you need like absolute silence because if that's the case, you're probably not going to get that. Maybe back in, I think they took the tables out of Storybook Circus, out of that that one area. Like sometimes they have tables back there for like kids to color on and stuff like that. But then sometimes they use that spot for meet and greets for like the holiday parties and stuff like that. So they may have it set up for that too. This is tough. I think if you need like absolute quiet, you should probably do what Mike says and go to like the Contemporary or something like that. But
oh, because he's looking for a table. Like there's a lot of places you might be able to sit on the floor for a little bit, like maybe even over by the camera shop where Mickey meets, but the store there to the right, or that's not even that gonna be that quiet. I would just maybe head over to the Contemporary and find a quiet spot because I know you can find that, and that's a quick monorail or 10-minute walk away. Pam, what do you say?
So there is that area when you exit Space Mountain that does have some kind of like table, like sort of bar stools that sort of like in a sort of area. I don't know if that's where I'd want to be working on something that was important to me. But if in the pinch, if I had to, yes, I would do it there. But I would absolutely agree with you, Mike, and head over to take the monorail over to one of the resorts. There are some good locations where you can get some peace and quiet. And I think each one of them sort of has it. For me, honestly, I could get a lot of work done in the lobby at the Polynesian. Mm-hmm. All that sort of background noise with people walking around sort of fades away. And I just love being there. There are some little table areas, like coffee table areas there in the lobby. And of course, up in the Tambu Lounge during the day is not very busy either. I also could sit out in the quick service location. Like there's an outdoor area and an indoor area there at the Polynesian at Captain Cook's. And if at all of them, but at Captain Cook's and also the one over at the Grand Floridian, I think is a good location. There's some tables way in the back of Gasparilla Grill at the Grand Floridian that I think you'd be pretty by yourself for a long period of time. When they went through the recent rehab of that, they completely made that space bigger. Do you remember how small it was? I think there were like 4 tables.
Yeah, It's much bigger.
They took away the arcade, so there's places to sit there. But I think, that's definitely locations. Oh, and we're forgetting the boat over to Wilderness Lodge, which has some of the most quiet, relaxing places in the world. So there are actually places. There are some desks with chairs actually up there. You'll have to take the elevator up to one of the upper floors, but right off the lobby there are some desks with chairs in the tradition of that style of architecture, of course. So yeah, lots of good choices there if you go to a resort, and that's absolutely what I would do.
Yeah, Wilderness Lodge is your winner there. I've done lots of work there, and it is super quiet and is super awesome. And especially if you have headphones, because then you can kind of focus a little bit better.
I know, and now I want to be there. Like, I want to work from Wilderness Lodge every day.
That would be awesome.
I don't want to work when we're down there this time. I want to have a vacation.
I know, right? So
God bless you, Kathy and Jocelyn. Thank you. Yeah. All right. Next up, we have Jonathan, my good buddy on the Lizard. He says, hey, Mike, Pam, and Rikki. His title of his email is Best Night for the Halloween Party. Our family of 5, we headed to the world at the end of September for our non-Run Disney family vacation. I get one of those every year, too. We definitely want to take advantage of Mickey's Halloween party this trip. We have the option of choosing a Sunday night ticket, which is day 3 of our trip, which is $6 per ticket cheaper, or a Tuesday night ticket, day 5 of our trip. Are there any advantages related to crowds, experience, etc., in choosing one night over the other? The kids are 8, 6, and 3. Thanks so much. Jonathan is in Charlotte, North Carolina. So we got a Sunday night, which is a little bit cheaper, or a Tuesday night, 2 days later in the trip, which is obviously a little bit more expensive. Both nights are obviously school nights. When is this? He said September, so school will be obviously back in. I don't know, Pam, what do you say? I mean, is there I don't even know how they determine like why one is more expensive. I guess it's based on popularity, but it's kind of interesting that a Sunday night would be less
dart throwing. No,
yeah,
I'm sure there's some kind of algorithm that's way beyond our pay grade. But what I will say is the main things to be concerned about when you're talking about any party, whether it's Christmas party or Halloween party, usually those first couple in the season and the last few are going to be the most crowded. So that I think is the main thing to think about. I think if Disney is actually charging you less to go on a night, they have done some research, right? Somebody's back there counting lots of beans.
Valid.
And if you're saving a whole $6 per person, it must be because they're incentivizing you to go on that night. So I would go ahead and trust Disney and be like, sure, I'll go on Sunday. I don't think you're going to have much difference in crowd, though, between those two, as long as they're not the very beginning or the very end.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I especially in September, I think the crowds would be negligible in difference in size on either a Tuesday or a Sunday night.
Right.
I think either one will be just fine. And even if the crowds are a little larger on the Sunday, you probably wouldn't notice it. Or if they were a little larger on the Tuesday, you probably wouldn't notice that either. Yeah. So very negligible, I think.
And the hidden gem here is if you get the candy earlier, you're snacking on that the rest of your vacation.
That's true.
That's right.
You won't have any to take home. Yeah.
Right. You can say to the kids, no, you don't need that cupcake. Wait till we get back to the room and you can eat that Clark bar.
We have 7
bars.
That's a Pittsburgh thing. That's a Pittsburgh thing.
No, I know what Clark bars are. They're good. They're not necessarily as good as Butterfingers, but they're good. I like them. So
yeah, but they don't have that annoying better Butterfinger commercial.
That's true.
That no one can understand or figure out.
That's a valid point. Yeah.
All right. Next question is coming from Zach. Title is Attention, Attention. He says, hey, Mike and BOGP crew, I had to put that in the subject line to hopefully grab your attention. Well, you did.
I think you did. Yeah.
We are 28 days away from our 7-night Alaskan Disney cruise on the Wonder. This is our second Disney cruise, with our first being our honeymoon on the Fantasy. As you can imagine, this is not your typical Bahamian cruise, and we're struggling with what to pack to wear. Any suggestions on items we should definitely bring? In addition, are there any can't miss things to see while we're there? Thanks ahead of time and love the show and look forward to every episode. Hope to be able to meet y'all during our first Run Disney event this fall at the Wine and Dine weekend. Thanks, Zach and Madison, Rikki's neighbors over in Dallas, Georgia, 481 miles away from Walt Disney World.
Woohoo!
All right. So I thought this was a good one for Rikki. So because Rikki, you didn't sail to Alaska, but you sailed to Canada.
I did.
And so it's obviously a different type cruise. So give them some packing advice. What do you wish you would have brought, or what worked well for you?
So the weather itself is going to be a little chilly, all things considered. So you probably want to bring pants and long sleeve shirts and hoodies. I think those things will be key for you. We brought gloves and we brought scarves, and those things were also very handy when we went. So you may want to consider those as well. Just look at the temperatures before you leave, and that will really help guide you on what you're going to want to bring with you. There's probably not a lot of humidity, obviously. So it is Alaska. So if it's, says it's, 55 degrees, it's probably a true 55 degrees, and it will probably be very chilly. So just keep that in mind. Just pack like you would normally pack for a cool fall day, and you'll be good. Now, nighttime will definitely be cold up on deck because it will be moving. And trust me when I say it gets chilly. So you probably won't be, swimming in the pool during the evening times when the ship's going. You may be in the hot tub, and if you get in the hot tub, you will be like running back to your room, which is definitely something that we did. Disney does often, for those type of sailings, provide like blankets and things like that out on deck. So make sure you just grab one of those and cuddle up in it. Grab some coffee, because that's what we did. We grabbed coffee while we were sailing on our sea days. And there were a couple sea days where it was nice to be outside and like just sit. But once the evening hit, that was it. Like everybody went inside, and that was pretty much all she wrote for that case. So yeah, those are kind of my tips.
All right, good stuff. So Pam, what about Alaskan cruises? What are you hearing about, like what not to miss? Because it is a lot different than your typical Caribbean or Bahamian tropical cruise.
It is. And I think that with an Alaska cruise in particular, your having a veranda cabin can sometimes be more important because you have the ability. I mean, everyone has the ability to go up on deck and see the glaciers and the scenery as you go past. But I'll tell you what, there's nothing like stepping out on your veranda in pajamas, right? And drinking your morning coffee. They can sort of frown on that if you roll upstairs in your pajamas. But, I mean, just saying. But there's nothing like having that veranda, I think, and being able to enjoy that. And in Alaska, it's the perfect place to do that, especially if you're going up and back. Then, regardless of whatever side of the ship that you're on, you're going to have a great view at least one of those times. So that's something to consider. The other thing really depends on the different locations that you're stopping at, that your cruise happens to be at. But I think for every person, there is something that's going to appeal to them on an Alaska cruise. I know that my mom, one of the times when they went on their Alaska cruise, they actually went into a rainforest. Right? In Alaska, right? What? So anyways, there are all kinds of different excursions that you can do, be it, helicoptering or getting up close with the glaciers or fishing excursions or whale watching, there's just so many different things you can do. There's beautiful, quaint little towns that you'll be at. So look through the excursions really well and find one that works for you. In addition to the ones that Disney Cruise Line offers, there's also ones offered by other companies. So if you have a travel agent, ask them, if there's another one that you may want to be looking at too, to see if you can find an excursion that meets your needs. But that's the beauty of cruising. You get to do what you want to do. So, and
Joanne does say that when she went on her Alaska cruise, it was 75 to 80 degrees. So, I mean, really, I don't, you really need to look at the weather before you actually.
It is. It's unpredictable. Exactly. It's really unpredictable. Yeah. So that's how that goes too.
Yep.
All right, let's get to the next question. It's from Michael. It says, Doctor Services at Walt Disney World. Hey, all, love the podcast. Hearing about all the plans for other travelers and tips for all the new experiences at the parks helps make my commute all the more bearable. My question is a little retrospective, but certainly good information to have on future visits. My wife and I recently traveled to Walt Disney World with our 18-month-old for 5 days. We stayed at the Polynesian, which I always had a great experiences at growing up, and we both had an enjoyable experience on a recent big family trip. It was a great trip, but somewhere towards the end of it, our little guy caught what we later found out was the flu. Oh. This unfortunately meant that our last night there was spent constantly monitoring his temperature, cool baths, and calls to the pediatrician's line. He He thankfully recovered without further issue, but the entire experience was disappointing on Disney's end. As we were scheduled to take our flight out the next morning, we were just focused on making it through the night. The Polynesian indicates that it has doctors on-call services, which I took to mean on or near property, come to your room pretty much 24/7. However, neither of the services were much help when I called. The first didn't have any appointments until 8 a.m. the next morning. The second didn't answer and never called me back. Concierge was sympathetic, but could only further recommend an urgent care that had limited night hours and the ER of a nearby hospital. My question is, are these the only or best options for medical treatment if you're on property, or did we miss something? Of course, if things had gotten rough or we were instructed to, we would have gone to the ER. But sometimes you just want a doctor to physically check the patient and put you at ease or tell you what needs to be done. I hope no one ever has a need for this info, but as we found out, the more you know, the better. Keep up the great work, Mike. All right. So I just wanted to address this because, this is a question that nobody plans for. I don't think you really plan for. I mean, I think that it's good to have this in the back of your mind, like what if, and here's one of the great things I know that we do at the Magic for Less, just to toot the horn a little bit. I think it's kind of nice is that when you book with the Magic for Less, you get these emails throughout the planning period, hey, it's time to make your ADRs. Here's some great restaurants for characters, for, buffets for little kids, whatever, and then it talks about fast passes and it talks about, what to pack and stuff like that. But also one of them that we send out is a tip that talks about what to do if you get ill, like the numbers, the phone calls, the phone numbers, where to go, hours, stuff like that, locations. And I think that's vital. When you get those tips, put those, save them as a PDF on your phone or whatever. I mean, it's going to be in your email. Don't delete it. But I think that, it is kind of scary, especially if it's a little guy, like an 18-month-old. I remember when Mallory was that age, I was a freak anytime anything happened. And when you're away from home, it's just unfamiliar territory. I would have gone, this is just me because I'm an over-the-top parent. I would have taken her to the ER, just to been like, hey, look, do what you got to do. Find out if she really, are we good to go? Can we get on an airplane? But I understand, like, you didn't want to do that. But yeah, I think that Disney can only go so far because, they can offer services, but they don't have an on-site hospital. Pam, what have you learned from this? Because I know you've had a couple health issues while you're there.
I know, it's funny. And what's funny is I just pulled up the template of that tip that we send to guests.
I think it's one of the most important. I mean, honestly, it's not the
scariest,
but it's also probably could be the one that helps you the most.
I know. And that's the funny thing. Like, we're always, when I first, thought about that tip, I was like, okay, this is information that I don't want anyone ever to have to use.
Yeah.
But worse than having to use it would be like pulling your phone out and like Googling, right? Mm-hmm. We have the information there for you. You're absolutely right. One of them is a doctor's on-call service that is available to people in that area. But I think that when you're traveling, this is one of the reasons why some of our guests get travel insurance, because their health insurance, for one reason or another, doesn't cover things like this when they're out of their particular area, which I didn't really realize. My husband works for a hospital, and we're blessed to have really good health insurance. And these are questions I never even thought of. So in the past, I actually absolutely have gone to Celebration Hospital, because you go there, they will, you have a doc that's going to be able to look at your situation and give you good advice. And the emergency room is not just for urgent situations. When you're away from home, they absolutely understand that you're traveling and you don't have access to your regular doctor. And so that's something to think about. You're right. The urgent care facilities typically have limited hours. And there's only so long they work. But there is a company called, there is a doc on call service. We have the numbers 407-399-DOCS. And they will come to you, but things like that actually typically tend to be more expensive than just a visit to the ER, where they'll, do things and check you out. So we tend to go to the ER when we have something like that, and we're just away from home, because you just have such limited options. You really do.
It's true. That's true. I've had to go to the urgent care before as well when I've been down there. Now, granted, I didn't end up going in because when I saw the price, I was like, I'm good. I'm gonna deal with being sick.
Brian was like, well, it's 50-50. You'll make it through.
Exactly. That was kind of how I was like, Lord, I think it's slowing down now. I can manage.
We're gonna go get a Band-Aid for that at Walgreens.
Yeah, exactly. I had the flu, but I was still like, you know what? I think I'll survive. So I have done that. Also, I know quite a few insurance companies have like a doctor, on demand type thing on your phone. So, and I know that, not a lot of us think about using that. But that now that we live in the technological world, that in those kind of instances, that could be something that might help you because you can get with a doctor almost immediately. And I think that they have hours pretty much 24/7 with those kind of things. So that could potentially be, something as well. See if your insurance has a connection to any one of those doctor on demand type services. And that might be a help for you as well.
For sure. So the health plan that we're with actually had a commercial where the husband was telling the wife to go to the doctor for something. She's like, I don't have time. I have 8 million things I have to do today. And he answered the phone and she's like, what are you doing? And he's like, the doctor's right there. Like, look at him and tell him what's going on.
Exactly.
This is my husband.
Yes.
He's like, you need to go to the doctor. I'm like, I don't have time, whatever. He's like, talk to the phone. He's right there.
He's right there.
Anyways, but yeah, there's all kinds of, thankfully, I think all kinds of hospitals and insurance plans are making it easier for us to have access to that. But you're right. When your child's sick, you're panicked. And I think peace of mind is definitely worth something. So consider that.
All right. Next questions from the live chat. Thanks everybody for joining us live here on Facebook, on the Facebook page for the podcast. We have Mackenzie Brown saying, hey guys, so happy I'm getting to watch the live show for Halloween Horror Nights. Are the happy original rides open? Are they happy rides? Happy original rides open, or is it just the haunted houses? We're going down for Wine and Dine for 6 days. We're going to take one night to do Halloween Horror Nights for my husband, but I'm not the biggest haunted house fan. Rikki,
yes. So guess what? I'm not a huge haunted house fan either. I've only been in one haunted house in my entire life, and that was last year at the Stranger Things house. And that's because my brother went with me, and he said, "There's going to be somebody jumping out there. There's going to be somebody jumping out there," because he'd been in the house before, and he knew it. So, I'm a big chicken, just like you. But good news for us chickens who want to go to Halloween Horror Nights. The rides are mostly still available. So they have a couple rides that maybe aren't, but the big ones are definitely available for you to ride. And I like going to Halloween Horror Nights just for this, because a lot of times, now granted, last year it was a little busier and we went way closer to Halloween than we normally do. So it was definitely a lot busier. So the wait times were a little higher for those attractions. But usually when I've been before, the attraction wait times are a lot less. There was one time when, my brother and Brian were going around in the house, and one of the houses, and it was right by Men in Black, and I rode like Men in Black just repeatedly. So I went back and got in line again. I rode it like 2 or 3 times in a row. So, yes, the ride.
Everyone loves that ride.
I love Men in Black. I know it.
I like that one myself. I got to admit. It's no ET, but it's a good ride.
I mean, you gotta love Will Smith. So
that's right.
So anyway, you're still going to be able to ride the rides, and definitely enjoy those the scare zones. Just keep your eyes on the scare actors. Keep you're vigilant on what's going on around you, and you'll be just fine walking through them. I promise.
All righty. Next question from the live chat. It's from Natalie. She says, hey, BOGP crew, looking to take my 3 boys who will be 6 and under. God help you. In late May, early June of 2020 for their first trip to the world. What would be a good resort to stay at? I'm staying at the Beach Club for my first dopey. Thanks, Mike. Would that be a good spot, or should we stay at Art of Animation in a car suite? Having enough space and a great pool is a must. All right, Pam, no pressure, but we're looking for first trip for 3 boys who are 6 and under. Got to blow them out of the water. The pool's in.
I know. That's hard. So if the pool is important, I'm going to say the beach club and the yacht club because it has a fantastic pool. I see the appeal at staying at the Art of Animation because you do have more space. But I think overall, they're just going to find the pool. I mean, not that there's anything wrong with the pool at Art of Animation. It's a great pool. The Big Blue is a great pool, but it doesn't have a slide. And let's face it, Stormalong Bay is pretty freaking impressive, isn't it? Right?
It's a mini water park is what it is.
It is. That slide, first of all, goes over the walkway to the from Epcot over to the resort. I mean, it's over top of your head. Outside of the pool area, you get on it. There's sand bottoms. There's lots of little whirlpools. There's a lazy river. All of that thing, I think, makes it, a place that you really want to go to. But I will say all of the deluxe resorts really do have an impressive pool in one way or the other. It's just Stormalong Bay really kind of sets itself apart.
But you know what? I loved last year, the Polynesian pool. Like that pool was a lot of fun. The slide was great. It just had this. It had a lot going on. I mean, shooting while you're in the pool, you're looking at Cinderella Castle. That was
I know. It has a beautiful view. That's what I mean. Like all the deluxe resorts have fantastic pools, but it's hard. I mean, it's hard to choose. That's Stormalong Bay though.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, Boardwalk, it's got a great like roller coaster looking slide. That thing's it's long. It's a fun ride. So Rikki, anything you'd throw in for the little guys? I mean, if you don't want to go deluxe, I mean, of course, I would encourage you to look at French Quarter and Riverside because you're going to get two different pools.
You get the serpent pool there.
Right.
Which is, I mean, who doesn't love going down a slide that looks like a serpent? I mean, yeah, exactly.
Wow.
That's probably a good option, definitely. I think that's a good one.
Oh, it's two different slides that Disney has that like spit you out of a mouth, like the clown.
I don't know, man. That's bizarre.
What's that up with? That's a 3028 show too. Rides that spit you out. Anyway. All right, Mark's got a question here in the live chat. It says Mark from Beaver County for Pam here. And so you guys got a Beaver County.
Oh, hey, yes, we do. It's very close, actually.
All righty. What's the best plan of attack for Food and Wine Festival in Epcot going in September? My best, let's all give one solid piece of advice. Mine is early in the day, not at night. If you can avoid, I mean, there's a fun with Disney. There's always a fun like aspect of it when it's busy and there's lots of energy and all that. But if you get there right as the booths open at 11, you can just breeze through them and really enjoy the festival for how it is. Also during the week. So those are my two tips. Rikki, give another tip for Food and Wine in September.
Definitely consider getting a gift card. I think that's a really good way to manage your money for those, because all too often, it's easy to spend it when you've got your like Apple Pay or something like that going. I just hit my button, go, okay, I paid for my food.
Disney doesn't like this tip. They don't want you to be like, when you're done, you're done. They're just like, just keep going.
It's a lot easier for me to get my phone out now for those food booths though than it is for me to dig into my purse, get my wallet out, and then if I'm looking at staying on budget, I would definitely do one of the gift cards because then you can wear it around your arm. If you don't want to do that, a Magic Band obviously works too, but then you're not as budget conscious for that too. So I'm going the budget conscious. So gift card.
Disney has banned you from future events.
I know, right? They're never going to invite me to anything ever again. Not that they ever invited me in the first place. So,
all right, Pam, what do you got?
So I'm going to say, have an idea of the booths that you want to hit before you get there. Rikki and team do a great job of having
I bucked my butt on those. Yes.
The menus up on the Mouse for Less. There's photos of a lot of the different foods there. And the photos actually really help me because there's some things I'm reading the description. I'm like, oh, I want that. And then I see the picture. I'm like,
I do not want that.
I'm not getting that. And by the same token, there are things that I thought, oh gosh, that doesn't sound very good. And then I see the photo of it. I'm like, oh wait, that actually looks really good. So the photos really help me. But then I sort of have a plan of attack of like what I actually have to get to, because what happens is you start walking around and you're going one way. Let's say you're starting the Mexico way, and you get 4 lands in, 4 countries in. And you're like, I'm full. I'm done. I'm not even going to make it to Canada to get fill in the blank. The maple pound cake thing.
No, that was from Flower and Garden, and I have to tell you all, I had that for the first time ever.
So good.
Pam, what took us so long?
No idea.
Was amazing. Oh,
no idea. It was really good. So.
Why did we not eat that when we were traveling earlier in the year?
I think because we got full. We started in Mexico.
We did. Oh my goodness.
So anyways, yes. So there's lots of yummy things there. But yeah, absolutely. Get a plan of attack. That's your only hope.
Yes.
All right. Natalie, going back to the previous question, says, thanks, guys. You can get to Epcot and the Magic Kingdom easily from the Polynesian, right? Yes, absolutely. Yep. Polynesian, boom.
You can do boat or monorail. Yeah.
Boat, yeah. And also just the good news is the Polynesian, you can walk to the TTC, catch that monorail. You only have to take one monorail to Epcot. It's kind of a, switcheroo.
That's true.
All right. So let's get to the next question. And it is from Tara. Hey, everyone. I used minivans in the past and they're great, but we're considering trying regular Lyft or Uber next time. I've never used them before. Can they enter the resort areas to pick you up? And where do you pick them up at the parks when you're leaving for the day? Thank you, Tara. Yes, they can pick you up at the resorts. They just usually pick you up kind of, typically like where the Magical Express bus would pick you up or drop you off, like that. If there's like an overhang, like at Riverside or French Quarter or Old Key West, it's not where the resort buses go. Like for like at the Contemporary, you go out to where the taxis and stuff drop you off. For the luggage, usually around the luggage service area is where that'll kind of a general rule to pick them up. Now at the parks, what I do, it's simply, I just ask like a cast member when I'm leaving, hey, where's the Uber and Lyft, place? Because now actually they're putting signage. It says like ride share, and they tell you, but like, I don't hit that button to pick me up because I want to make sure the pin's in the right place. But I ask a cast member because really with a lot of the construction going on, this could change, here in the next month, you never know. So I just ask, they point you in the right direction. It's usually one of the old kind of unused bus stalls or something like that. Guys have anything for that? I mean, it's usually how it is.
Yeah, that's about right.
Well, because you're going to hear on Friday, I used a lot of, I met every Uber driver and their company. It was scary.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, okay. So we're going to talk about that on Friday. I finally get to talk about my trip. It's going to be a fun one. I'm telling you, I've been getting so many messages about what.
Yeah, we have been. Yeah, I got a few on Instagram too from people like, I want to hear about Mike's trip. Okay, we're gonna. I enjoyed listening to Pam's trip since I didn't get to be on the show that day. So that was fun. So now I can't wait to hear about your vacation and all the fun you had. So yeah.
All right, okay, we got to get out of here soon, but real quick, Betsy's asking, is Riviera going to have concierge, Pam?
Is Riviera going to have concierge? No, Riviera is not going to have concierge that I've heard. They're just going with regular room categories that are apparent at the deluxe villas. In addition to those the tower rooms, the sort of less expensive version of the studios that only accommodate 2. But that Grand Casino Tower is going to have concierge. So that's something to think about. They don't actually have a concierge level. They have, I believe, there's a certain number of rooms that can be located throughout the resort. In addition to their suites are going to have access to concierge. So consider that, because I'm telling you, my beloved Coronado is looking better and better all the time. So
it's just awesome. It's awesome.
I can't believe, I know. And I'm going to be there when it opens too. So this is a busy year. I'm just saying there's lots of stuff that needs done. Look, this is my job, people.
I am open to be sent places.
All the teachers in our listening audience, and we have tons of educators in our audience who are like, I'm busy doing report cards and closing out my room, and you're busy staying in the new tower at Coronado's.
I know. It's
I can put on a blonde wig and look like Pam Forrester. I'm just saying. Just I'll get a blonde wig. I'll say, yes, I'm Pam Forrester.
I know it is. I will tell you, this is one of the big benefits of it, though, checking out stuff like this. But it's awesome. So yeah, I will say, the Riviera question. Getting back to that, not that I've heard. I shouldn't say no because it's Disney and anything can change at any time, but not that I have heard. So,
all right. And Eric, he reminds me that you can't move the pins on Uber. I know, but that's just adding another variable into the situation. I don't do that. I wait till I get to my desk. It's kind of like one of my rules I have for drive-thrus in North County, St. Louis, is that you always order a number. You don't try to get fancy and say, if Mallory wants a taco without lettuce, they're going to screw up my food. Like that is not gonna, she'll get her taco with no lettuce, but then I'll get like a chili cheese burrito without chili or cheese. You know, so, you don't want to bring in extra variables. I just walk myself there, that I hit the button and I don't mess around. So it's just another rule to live by.
Okay.
All right, so that's going to do it for today's show. We'll be back in on Friday. I'm talking about my offsite stay over at the B. It's going to be fun. But today's show brought to you by our friends over at virtualmickey.com, home of great iPhone apps like Theme Park News, Disney Edition. Rikki, I don't know if this is your story you're going with, but I will say on Monday, I customized my magic bands for my trip. And, we're staying at Riverside before I don't know if it was for my annual passes or for the it was for the resort stay, because I got them for Mallory and Paige, and they don't have annual passes yet. I'm upgrading their tickets when we get there. But yeah, I mean, we got cool ones. Mallory got a one that had the castle on it, and I got one that's Spaceship Earth. And Paige and Pam were not home, so we got Paige a villains one. It was like the Disney villains collection.
Oh my gosh, because she's so salty. That's perfect.
Yeah, I'll let Mallory Paige get her villains. And then we got a really cute one. It was like Minnie Mouse with like bows and polka dots.
Nice.
Kind of thing.
Cool.
So they're really pretty. And then they have like Star Wars ones. They have different solid colors.
They have Marvel.
They have Pixar.
They do.
And they even have a Parks collection. So it's a lot of fun. So I don't know if you're going to talk about that, but there you go. I just want to throw that in. So if you want to do that, get over there and do it now. Right now is only $10. I think they're going to be like $25, but introductory pricing.
Well, that does confuse me, because they do say that they're $10. And so the free ones are $14.99. So if you're basically subtracting the price of the free one, I would think that they would always be $10, unless it's a more expensive magic band. Like if they have a more expensive magic band on there, and then you just subtract the $14.95 or whatever it is, then yeah, you'd end up paying more than the $10. But I assume that most of them will probably be $10. That wasn't what I was going to talk about, but sure, Mike, let's talk about that.
I don't even understand your math. I mean, like, are the magic bands not free with your purchase? I mean, like, what are you talking about? So you can buy,
like, if you get them free normally,
because I have like
the solid color ones, you get them free, but you can buy them in the parks. In the parks, those ones are $14.95, the solid ones. If you want the premium ones with the design, those are usually $24.95 or more. So you're saving the $14.95. So they're basically discounting the premium magic bands $14.95. So
well, they're giving you credit. They're basically giving you credit for the magic band you would have gotten for free, the plain one.
They're giving you the credit.
That was really generous. I actually did.
Following my process.
Why does Disney have to be so confusing all the time?
No, I'm just saying, like, most magic bands will be the $10 price that you pay for the premium ones. However, if they start offering like the limited edition ones, those cost more than $24.95. So what you do is you'd subtract the $14.95 from the from whatever the price would be. So
I just like to say $10.
The two.
Exactly.
Exactly. I just saw, here's me. This is how I do Disney. I'll tell you, this is how I do it on my trips too. It said special price $10. I'm like, sold. Bought 4 suckers. I was in.
No sucker, it's fine.
Anything that's $10 or under, buy it.
Yes,
buy it right then.
That's right. Anyway, that wasn't what I was going to talk about, but it is now, so that's fine. Thanks, Mike.
There you go. Theme Park News Disney Edition. I'm sure there's a story there for you.
There is. I've probably written it.
All right. Check it out. Virtualmickey.com, Theme Park News Disney Edition, free app for your iOS devices. Don't forget to check us out on Instagram and Twitter at BeOurGuestPod and at BeOurGuestMike. And we've got a great Facebook page at Facebook.com/BeOurGuestPodcast and an awesome YouTube channel as well to check out all the madness on YouTube. All right. We're going to be back again on Friday talking about my trip to the B and for the Summit Cheerleading Championships and lots of great dining out at Disney Springs. Lots more fun, so stand by for that. But until then, for Pam and Rikki, I'm Mike, wishing you a great Wednesday. Time to get back to work, and we'll see you real soon. All right, let me save that one real quick. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, the Magic Bands are pretty sweet looking. I liked them. I was impressed.
They are.
Yeah.
I was like, so I'm sort of a Magic Band junkie. Only I typically
don't need any, but God,
exactly. I have wreaths full of them.
Yeah.
But I like having one. I think that's different. And I have been changing out my pucks lately. I have a navy blue with the light pastel pink.
Oh yes,
I
which is
love
gorgeous.
that.
I love that you've done
right?
that. Yes, yes.
I know. Those are like my signature colors.
I wish they'd offer like the navy, the light pink as well. Like that would be nice, but they don't.
I know.
For free, not for the price. I don't want to pay for that one.
I hear you.
Alfred, I don't think we missed your question there because we were kind of closing out, Alfred, but I don't think Galaxy's Edge and Disneyland will be very much less crowded once Hollywood Studios opens. I think because it's two different audiences.
No, completely two different audiences. Lots of locals at Disneyland.
Actually, there won't be. People keep talking about how crowded it'll be. You have to have a reservation to get in. Right.
For the first month.
And then after that, I don't know.
Oh well, they did announce how they're doing that. Did you see? I wrote an article, Pam. Did you not see my article on the Mouse for Less?
No.
How rude of you to not read my articles.
Right.
So they're going to have, hang on, let me find the article so I can let you know what it's going to consist of when it's like this whole process that they're going to do. It's like a queue system, kind of like what they do.
I did read your article. You're right. It's like a virtual queue, sort of.
Exactly. It's kind of like how they do. I'm glad you read my article. Thanks, Pam.
I did. I really did.
Way to lie and say you read it. No. So early morning visitors won't have to get a boarding pass. That's what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to procure a free boarding pass. So the people who go there first won't have to get one. And then as the day progresses, as the land fills, guests should check the Disneyland app. A status bar, kind of like you see when you're ordering a pizza, will be shown to notify visitors when Galaxy's Edge will be full, and then when the boarding pass process will start. And then once you have your boarding pass, you'll get push notifications to let you know it's time to enter the land. Right. And you have 2 hours to enter the land once they tell you.
I think that's cool. And I think that's great. And so the thing I was saying, because I'm going to be staying after the media event with Steve, because Steve's flying out with me, and he, of course, wants to do it as well. Yeah. And people are like, it's going to be crazy. And I'm like,
no, probably not for you guys.
It's actually not going to be crazy, because the only people that get on are people who are staying on site or already have, and have the reservation, or people who don't. You have to have a reservation. Yes. And here's the other thing. There are still Disneyland hotels available that guarantee that you get a reservation to get in. So if you're still wanting to go, reach out to us, because we can get you a reservation. You can be there. I think it's going to be
paying my way in. No? Okay, then I guess I'm not going.
I think it's going to be less crowded that first month than it probably will be for a while.
You're probably right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
All right, let's do this. I think so too. I thought a 2-bedroom for somebody today.
Nice.
For one.
Oh, Eric, that is not a rumor. That is true. That stormtroopers will be escorting people out if they stay in the land too long after because they're going to give out wristbands.
Yeah, they're going to have to escort me out.
I was going to say
they're going to shoot you with a blaster. That's the rumor.
I was going to say don't be one of those people, but then Pam just said she's going to be one of those people.
Are you kidding me?
Move along.
My time's from 11 to 3, and I want to see it at night too. I mean, I will have seen it, but my husband will not, and I will want him to have seen it.
Yeah, good luck with that.
I know, right?
Yeah.
I wonder if I cry, if it'll help.
I don't think so.
No. The Empire doesn't care.
I need to get some good Star Wars quotes to throw back at them.
Yeah.
Nice.
You're going to try to do Jedi mind tricks on them.
Yeah. You will let me in. You will let me stay.
I gotta pull up my pictures. Hang on, because that's how
we've been talking for this long, and you haven't pulled up your pictures.
Let's see. Hang on, it doesn't take a second.
Oh my goodness!
I got so many pictures from graduation. Let's see. Let's see.
Oh, by the way, love bugs are ridiculously gross this year.
Oh my god, they were everywhere. It was sick.
It was so awful.
Still, they were so bad.
When I went to Daytona, they were terrible. So yeah, love bugs terrible right now. Yeah.
They're better than whatever bit me though. Like I got bit by whatever. You don't even feel the bites. They're little teeny tiny things, and they itch so bad.
I thought that was just me because I have bunch of them all over my body, and I'm like, where did these come from? Okay, I'm glad it's not just me.
I usually get them like on my ankles, and I think it's when I'm out like at twilight.
I had one on my neck and on my chest, and I have one on my arm, and I had one on my leg, and I'm like, where? These aren't mosquito bites. Where are these coming from?
It's crazy.
Okay, I'm glad.
All right. Here we go.
Let's hear about the bee.
All right.
Yeah.
There's some good and there's some not
I
good.
know. I've stayed at like the Wyndham that's next door to Disney Springs.
What about that chair that's $15,000, Mike? Did you see the chair?
With the chair in the lobby?
That chair, yeah.
That thing was 15. I got a picture in it. I didn't know.
Oh
I called it the ugly chair. I had my picture. I had no idea it was 15 grand. Yeah, I have a picture of me in it. I'll have to find it. Anyway. All right. Okay, here we go. Let me get this back to the beginning here. Okay, there we go. All right. This is going to be fun. This is messed up. Okay, this is 14. Welcome to episode 1489 of the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rallman from BeOurGuestPodcast.com and one of the senior agents over at the Magic for Less Travel. Happy Friday to you and welcome to summer 2019. Right, it's the unofficial start to summer. Hit that pool this weekend, grill it up, and you know what? If I know how it's going to be in St. Louis, it'll probably be 45 degrees and sleet. That's typically how our weather goes, instead of it being pool weather because summer's starting, it's always the other way around. But let's hope for some great weather wherever you are, and let's have some fun talking Disney. We're going to talk about my trip at the beginning of May when I went down for Mallory's Cheerleading Championships. Lots of fun. We stayed off site for the very first time. Let's just say I like staying on site a lot better. So we're going to get into that today. And joining me for this fun conversation, we have Rikki from a DisneyWorldAfterAll.com, touringplans.com, and the Mouse for Less. And I wanted to do this show while you were here.
Yes.
Because you are somebody who stays off site because your husband works for a hotel that has nearby Disney Springs affiliations and you can stay for free. And so I just want to see if your perspective matches mine. It probably doesn't. Maybe some things do. I don't know, but welcome to the show.
Thank you. And I myself am headed back to Walt Disney World. So if you'd like to follow along about my Memorial Day weekend adventures, go ahead and follow the Be Our Guest podcast on Instagram. And you'll be able to see lots of things because, I'm going down. I want to see the new Rivers of Light. Hopefully I will be able to get in on that. And as of right now, I have an idea of something else. It depends on timing. Let's put it that way. I'm holding off on something. We'll see if it works out, but we'll see. I don't know.
Ooh, that sounds so mysterious.
It depends on if rumors I've heard are true. I might change my plans midstream and do the other thing. So yeah, we'll see.
I will say too, for folks that haven't heard, we got a redesigned website at BeOurGuestPodcast.com. It's great on mobile devices and on regular computers, but also if you want to see all three of our Instagram feeds at the same time, this will be really helpful. Like when we're all down there over the 4th of July weekend, you can see what we're all taking pictures of. And on the front page, it has the podcast Instagram feed as well. But if you go under, I think it's Meet the Podcast, Meet the Crew or something at the top, it'll show all three feeds at the same time.
Yes, it's so awesome. So right now you can see a picture of a panda from the Atlanta Zoo that I took from this past weekend. It was so cute. She was laying out and her sister sat on her head. And so she was originally facing the other way and then her sister sat on her head trying to sleep. So she turned the other way and I'm like, oh my God, it's perfect. So yeah, anyway.
Brought you the government of China today.
Yes.
All right. Also joining us here at the corner of the Magic for Less Travel, Pam Forrester. Pam, what is going on? Happy summer.
Happy summer. I was just looking at my Instagram feed on the website. And of course, mine is from Friday. My latest is from Friday when it was happy hour, which my husband and I get to celebrate every Friday. And we were at this local place called Burgers. Get it? For the Pittsburghers. Yeah.
Love it.
So anyways, but they have some great beer and good food. So if you're in the Zillionople area, stop by and see them. But yeah, and hey, that was just a free plug for them because
there you go. Yeah,
because they have good stuff. So
that's right.
When I played fantasy football years ago, the guy who won the league one year, his football team was named the Bacon Double Roethlisbergers.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
That's so funny.
I love it.
Yeah, they actually have like great burgers that are named after Pittsburgh neighborhoods, and have like different toppings, according to what that neighborhood is known for. So anyways, they're a great local place. But yeah, love that. So yeah, I don't just post about Disney, my friends. There's a whole world of beer out there I have to post about too.
She's correct. Yes, that is absolutely correct. I mean, we all have fun with our Instagram accounts. So
True.
Well, typically, here's what mine looks like.
running.
For those watching on the video, after a miserable 12-mile run.
Yes, exactly.
Way too early in the morning. Anyway, let's hop into the topic at hand, and that was my trip down to Walt Disney World. We went down the first weekend of May, and it was the Summit Cheerleading Championships. And so let me kind of give you a little backstory on what this is about, just so you kind of get an idea of what's happening here. Cheerleading is a huge sport, which I didn't know because I always coached Paige, my older daughter. I coached her in soccer and basketball and softball, and she was like an athlete when it came to team sports. And that was my thing. Like I grew up playing baseball, basketball, hockey. So that was my jam. I knew what was going on. I knew like how to take care of things. Mallory's a different kid. She's tried dancing. She's tried a lot of stuff, and she's really into this competitive cheerleading now. So the last couple of years, she's been in this team called Platinum Athletics gym here in St. Louis. And they're one of the best. They're really, really good. She got on this really elite squad. They qualify. So what happens is you go to these competitions around the country throughout the season. But what the cheerleaders are always looking for, the teams, is you want to get what's called a bid to Summit. And Summit, what that is, that's the cheerleading championships in ESPN at Walt Disney World. First weekend of May, and you can either earn a paid bid or an at-large bid. In the very first weekend that the season started, they went to the first competition. They won a paid bid to Walt Disney World. So I'm like, I was so new to cheerleading, I'm like trying to be a good cheer dad. I wasn't even at the competition because I had something going on, and there was like DeKalb, Illinois. I didn't really want to be in the middle of the farm fields of Northern Illinois for a whole weekend, and so Pam tells me, oh yeah, we won, like we're the grand champions. We had the highest score of any age, any group. And I was like, so does that mean they get to go to Walt Disney World? She's like, yes. And even better, it's a paid bid. I was like, hallelujah. I love cheerleading. I was like, this is the greatest thing. Like Paige played like 7,800 soccer games. We never went to Walt Disney World. And we had some good teams. I was like, God, cheerleading is awesome. Like you've been cheerleading on the team for 6 months and we're already going to Walt Disney World. So I was like, hallelujah. So we look forward to it all year. It was like, they still did other competitions, because you got to keep your game on. You got to keep making the routine more challenging, because when you get, you're sometimes in these early competitions, you're like the big fish in the small pond. But then when you got to Walt Disney World, man, it was no joke. Like,
yeah,
unbelievable. They said 3,000. So what happened was, just real quick, 3,000 teams did competitions around the country to try to qualify for Summit. 31 made it. And so 31 teams competed in her division down at ESPN. And after 2 days, they came in fourth in the country. So I was really proud of them. They did really well. And that was amazing to come in fourth in the entire country against the best squads in the country. I want to send a huge shout out to Joanne and Jerry, who came out and cheered on.
Awesome.
That warmed my heart. I can't tell them how much it meant to me and the family. But let's hop into the whole trip. So we're going down, and I'm like, we find this out like a long time ago. I mean, like a long time ago that we're going to Walt Disney World. So Mallory watches, I don't know if you know this, but there's a lot of like reality TV shows that are on YouTube. They're not on network TV. And there's this one that follows cheerleading teams throughout the season. They're really good, like elite. They go to Worlds, which is the weekend before. It's like for the high school and college girls. And one of the teams is called the Great White Sharks. They're in Canada. They're the best cheerleading squad out there. And so they follow them at practice. And of course they make it to Worlds, which Worlds goes to Walt Disney World. So you see this like whole season of them, working to get to Walt Disney World. And then you see like the whole competition, like where they're staying at All-Star Sports. They're practicing the routines out on those football fields, kind of out in the middle of the buildings. He shows them, one of the girls, tells her parents she dropped out of college while they're on the Orlando Eye, while they're at the top. I'm like,
oh my gosh,
that's a solid view. You're 500 feet off the ground.
Yeah, and you're in an enclosed space.
Like, what's that all about? Anyway, so I have my mind's eye, like, yeah, man, we're gonna be like at Sports or Pop Century. Maybe we'll even get a moderate. It's gonna be great. They get all these little gifts and stuff. I'm like, this is like a running event for me, but this is like Mallory's jam, because like I love going down and running and all that, but I get my Disney fun. So I gotta watch what I say. So, some of the moms get all together, start brainstorming. A lot of these moms have done this for years, because this team obviously is qualified many, many years, our first year on the squad. And they're like, oh, we don't want to pay those Disney prices at the food court. We don't want to do this and we don't want to do that. So, and some of the teams had, I guess some of the families had like groups of 5 or whatever. So apparently somehow, and I wasn't, trust me, because I did not want to embarrass Mallory. I did not step in. I wasn't going to be that parent. We're new. I always think the new person should just listen and not speak. That's kind of my philosophy on things. I was going to take it as it came. So it all ends up, we're staying off site to save a little money. They said, we're going to save some money. They have bigger rooms at this place called the Bia Resort. It's a Disney Springs resort. You don't have to pay food court prices. You can go over to Bahama Mama or you can go over to Chick-fil-A,
Yeah, buddy.
I'm
That's
like,
a vacation.
You know what?
Living the dream.
I will say there was a Perkins down there I really wanted to get to, and I never made it because I do love some Perkins. But so I'm just like, that's fine.
Sorry, we distracted you.
Inside, I was like crying. I was crying on the outside for a little while too. I was like, oh man, can't we just get Pop Century or All Star Sports? Like I gotta be on site, man. I cannot be that close. Like it's not a Disney vacation. So, but I tried to put on a strong face. I tried to take it. And I looked online. I started looking at the research in the rooms, looking at what they look, looking at the pool and stuff like that. And I was like, it's okay. We'll be fine. Okay. So the first thing you don't have is Magical Express when you stay offsite.
Correct.
So we fly down. And for one thing, our airplane is just jammed full of like every cheerleader in St. Louis. Like not even every cheerleader, but however many cheerleaders a Southwest plane can fit. They were all on the plane. So it was loud and crazy with like, teen girls, preteen girls, like just screaming and all this stuff. So it's just, I know I sound like an old fogey, but it was nuts.
Well, you are, but that's fine. Yeah.
So then we land.
Yeah. Pam and I both know this.
We know what we're dealing with.
Exactly. We are well aware.
Okay, I'm just saying. I know that. I get it. Anyway,
yelling at kids from running across the yard.
That's Mike Rallman. Exactly. Yes. We are well aware.
We land. Okay, so now take that one plane times like the whole fleet of Southwest landing at like 10:30 at night on a Wednesday night at Orlando International. There's like thousands of cheerleaders and their moms and a few dads scattered here and there at the luggage racks, where they come out on the spinolas, you got to get your luggage. So I'm already, I'm not used to fetching my luggage unless it's like late at night and it's just me. It's not even busy. Dude, it is jammed. Yes. It's Black Friday trying to get your luggage. It's ridiculous. And I'm at a disadvantage because like these moms and girls are like aggressive, man. They are aggressive. So I automatically start thinking, I'm like, okay, how can I solve this problem? How can I solve this problem? What would I do if I was on the Amazing Race is what I told
Oh my goodness.
So I told Pam, I was like, you stand here, and I've like pushed up like to where we could get up to the belt. I'm like, do not move. I'm like, get our luggage when it comes out. I'm calling an Uber because it's like 10:30 on a Wednesday night. I'm like, and I start thinking like everybody's going to be calling an Uber here as soon as they get their luggage, and like the stuff hadn't come out yet. So I was like, I'm going to call an Uber. I'm going to stand here. And if this guy's like, oh man, we got to roll. Cause I understand like they got to make their money. They got to hustle. I'm like, I'll just pay you to sit. Like I'll start pulling out bills because I am not getting to my hotel, until like 2 a.m. So I go out there, Pam gets the luggage, and we get a really good Uber driver. Had Smooth Jazz, was a BMW, it wasn't even a black, it was just a regular Uber, but it was like a BMW SUV. Smooth Jazz, great guy, got us there. So it was off to a good start. But it was $70 right there. Okay, so we got to start thinking about all these extra costs you don't have. $70 because it was surge pricing because obviously it was crazy. It was nuts. So great guy got us to the B. Dropped us off, we check in. Pam's asking about magic bands and stuff like that. I'm like, Pam, no, that's we don't do magic bands here, because I had mine on because I had an AP. Like I just wore it because I have to wear it. I'm going to Disney. I just had to wear it. It's me. Like it's part of my deal. So anyway, we get in the rooms. Okay, so let me just tell you about the rooms at the P real quick. They're not bad. Like they're big rooms, and we had 2 queens. It was very nice. We actually had a little patio. We had a pool view room, and the pool was a lot of fun. The girls liked it. A little outdoor pool, kind of in the middle of a courtyard. They had an on-site restaurant called the American Bistro or something. We never ate there. Well, Mallory ate there with her friends a couple times. I never ate there because I'm like that. But the room wasn't bad, but there was no Disney touches, obviously. It was a hotel room. Like if this room was in Omaha or Wichita or Jeff City, it'd be great. But I'm at Walt Disney World, man. I want to be at Riverside or just, Saratoga Springs or something. I was so close. So anyway, I wasn't impressed by it, but it wasn't. And the thing was, the room was more expensive than a room at a value. It was more expensive than a value room for the time period we were there. I looked, and it wasn't. So I was disappointed in that. But the hotel did have like a Disney store. So you could buy like souvenirs, shirts, all the keychains and hats and all that stuff. They had that. That was kind of nice. You could buy tickets in the lobby. So that was kind of nice. So the hotel, clean, like a 15-story tower. We were on the first floor, but nothing really to write home about. It was a hotel. All right. So first thing I do I go to bed. Next morning I get up. I want to go for my run. I always run in the morning. So I'm thinking, okay, do I run on the treadmill at the hotel? Because they had a little nice fitness room. But I was like, no, man, I'm at Walt Disney World. I want to run. So I planned out this path using Google Maps like the week before. But the problem was, I go out to run at like 4:45 in the morning. So it's like pitch dark. And like the path I had took me I was trying to get to Old Key West. And I'm like, I had to go out on a golf cart path for like a little part. And I'm like, no, man, what was I thinking? Like there's gators, like bears, foxes. I don't know. I can be chased by any kind of wildlife. And plus the Disney cops will get me. So I'm like, okay, Saratoga Springs, is right next to Disney Springs. So I ran down Hotel Plaza Boulevard, I guess it is, turned right, and went towards Saratoga Springs. And stupid me runs right to the guard shack. And he's like, no, you can't run here. I'm like, well, I get that because I'm not on site guest. Duh. So anyway, I ran over towards Disney Springs. There's a little back entrance. There's a little walking path that takes you over to Saratoga. So I went down that, ran around Saratoga. Beautiful place.
He just snuck into Saratoga. I was like, I'm in.
Dude, come on now. I'm like, I get it. But you know what? Like, I spend a lot of money.
Mike Roman sneaking into Saratoga Springs.
I do have to share this story real quick. This was not the first morning, but this was like the third or fourth morning. And I'm running around Saratoga at sunrise, back in the back part of the resort. There's a nice lake with a fountain in the middle by the bridge. I'm running like my third lap around the resort on the path, and it's a beautiful place to run. It really is a great place. Wide path. So I encourage you to run there.
By sneaking in.
No, yeah, but I'm just saying, okay, so I still, God, I wish I'd had my camera out for this because I cannot believe what I saw. Like I still don't know if I really saw it, but I'm 100% positive I did. There's those big like Florida birds, like with the big they're white birds. They're huge, like cranes, I think. They're huge. So this one, I'm watching it. That's what I love running at sunrise in Florida. There's so much wildlife and birds. So this bird comes in and it swoops down on that lake right next to my running path, gets a fish. And okay, so here's the thing though. The fish is like in the bird's claws and like the fish is facing forward. Like it's kind of like on a F-15 where the missile's like below it. Like the fish is no kidding, like perfectly aligned with the bird. Like, and the fish is now 20 feet off the ground and flying towards this tree. That fish had to have been thinking, man, I'm just chilling here on like a Tuesday morning, just swimming around, minding my own business. And all of a sudden, like 10 seconds later, whoosh, boom, he's 20 feet off the ground, heading towards the golf course over at Lake Buena Vista, and he's going to be breakfast.
Oh, damn. What happened to
I'm just saying, you thought you were having a bad morning. That fish was having a bad morning.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like, did I just see that though? Right over my head. I was like, that fish is facing forward. It wasn't even sideways or facing backwards, dude. He was seeing the whole thing. Anyway, wow. I just had a camera ready. So running at Saratoga was a lot of fun. All right, so let me get to the other stuff. So here's the thing. I wanted to go to the parks because the girls had to do like cheerleading stuff. They had practice together. They had meetings. I'm like, forget that. I'm going over to the park. So the first morning I'm there is Thursday morning. Blue Angels doing a flyover event.
Yes.
That was
cool.
Yes.
That was awesome.
Cool was that? That was awesome.
That was really cool.
I love seeing military jets fly. And so I met so many of our listeners there. Like we're standing there. Lorenzo was there. Got to meet just tons of listeners. Like 5 or 6 of our listeners were like standing there. Like, hey, are you Micah? It's like, yeah. And so we got to hang out while we're watching the Blue Angels come by. We'll say the funny thing is, I'm going to get a good picture. So I was standing by. The Blue Angels have an official photographer, and he obviously had like a radio on him, in contact with the jet. And so it was kind of funny because we're all like waiting and they're playing music, thinking, okay, they're going to come by soon. You hear the guy from the jet go parking lot, and it was like, whew, and they were past you. Like, they're going so fast, you just heard parking lot, and they were like over the American Adventure already. So they were awesome, but it was so fast. But it was really cool to see, so many people come out and support the military. and see that. And I got to have a breakfast with a listener. We went back to France and did that. So it was a lot of fun. Flower and Garden was going on. Good time to go. You know, it's kind of solo. So I was just running around. I did Soarin'. I didn't make any fast passes for this trip because I didn't have any idea what we were doing. But, you know, crowds are low that time, beginning of May, beautiful weather, low crowds. God, great time to see Flower and Garden. Let's see. What else did we do? I called Rikki to ask her where the sippers were because I was like, I can't find the sippers.
Yes, he did. I'm sitting there on the phone with him, and he's like, "Where are the sippers?" And I'm sitting there at work going, "Mike, you're calling me about sippers, and I'm sitting here trying to work. That's fine. That's fine."
Stuff. Hey, so and just a couple of things that I had during Flower and Garden that I really, really enjoyed. One was in Japan. Back in Japan, it was like a seared tuna on some chilled noodles.
Mm-hmm.
That was solid. That was so good. And I had a flatbread with some kind of chicken on it. That was
That's a chicken. Yes. Did it have cauliflower and honey too?
I don't think it had cauliflower on it, but I had that too. That was the other thing that Pam, you know how we talked about that maple girdle cake? I had that chicken pizza flatbread thing, and I was like, why have I not had this? Why is this the first time I'm eating this? This is delicious. Oh, that was really good.
Yeah.
It was, and it was kind of nice because again, I was solo, you know, the girls doing the cheerleading thing. So I just walked around, took a lot of pictures because, you know, Epcot doesn't look any more beautiful than it does during Flower and Garden. You know, snacked on things. I saw live entertainment. I saw the entertainer in Italy. He did his thing with the balls and the net and, you know, all that good stuff with the audience participation. Went through the Japan store, watched some Pick a Pearls. I like watching that stuff. I saw all three of the movies. I saw the China movie. I saw Impressions of France, and I think I saw Canada. Now, I don't know if I saw Canada because I don't think I went back around that way. So the thing was, I had to take an Uber everywhere because I was not going to rely on this bus that went to like 6 Disney Springs hotels, and you know, you don't get to go to the normal bus stalls, stuff like that. So I took an Uber there. Now, here's the good news: you do get extra magic hours at that hotel.
Yes.
Funny
they
thing
recently added that. Yes.
You get fast passes at 60.
Yes.
But I will say the weird thing about your room key at the B, it is literally just a white piece of plastic. There is no writing on it.
Oh my gosh.
Not one piece of writing. So I'm thinking, you know, I'm always like an hour early rather than 5 minutes late. That's just me. So I wasn't even planning on going extra. I didn't even look at the extra magic hours. I was like, I'm going to be at Epcot at 9. So I was going to be there at 8:30 just to get in line. Well, they had extra magic hours that morning when I got there at 8:30. So I'm like, score, you know, so I can go in. But the thing was, I'm like, they're not going to let me in because they're going to ask for like, okay, where are you staying? Or, you know, I didn't have my magic band wouldn't have worked because I didn't have an on-site reservation. So I pull out this white piece of plastic, like this room key, and there's not a word on it. I'm like, I'm at the B. I'm not kidding. Like, and I'm supposed to be able to be like, go in. I was like, really?
What? Yeah.
Plastic that looks like a credit card. Okay. So anyway, I got in and, you know, got to have a good time, got a little head start on things, but it was a lot of fun. But when I left the park, because I had to leave to go back and meet the girls, again, I had to Uber. So here's a pro tip. I walked out the International Gateway to check out the progress of our gondolas, and they look good. And of course, you know, I thought, well, I'll just catch my Uber from the boardwalk. You know why I did that, right?
Catch the Uber. You're going to Ample Hills. Yeah, okay, got it.
Oh God, I was like, why are you doing that?
Yeah, it took me a second too. Yeah. I was like, oh, okay, got it.
Well, so you know that I always get the ooey gooey butter cake cone when I'm there, but they had something. We had a language barrier with this cast member, and she was from England, so I don't know what that's saying. Maybe I don't speak proper English. I know I don't speak proper.
Yeah,
English.
You probably don't speak proper English.
I asked her though. I said because they had something called red velvet ooey gooey butter cake ice cream.
Oh,
so it was ooey gooey butter cake ice cream, but with red velvet cake in it.
Interesting.
Oh.
I said, "Oh, is this new?" No, I don't think it's new. I was like, "Well, I've never seen it, but it was super good."
That's definitely seems new. I haven't seen that either, so that's weird.
Me too. So we went back and went to the hotel and did cheerleading stuff the rest of that day. The next day went to Hollywood Studios. Beautiful day. Got to go with some of the cheer moms and their daughters, and Mallory got to take some of her friends. It's kind of fun to show people, you know, Walt Disney World when they don't go as often as you.
Yeah.
Got to,
yes, I know. That's what happened with my mother-in-law and me. Yeah, that was really cool.
Like, you know, we had APs, like we got, you know, we did a lot of PhotoPass, and you know, of course, they don't have APs, so like they thought. And the thing is, it's so instant nowadays. Like we got some pictures on, you know, Hollywood Boulevard in front of the Tower of Terror, and like them literally within.
You get them, exactly.
And you can, you know, and they're just like that. Really does impress folks that don't see Disney for what it really is.
True.
So we scored. Actually, we waited in line for Slinky Dog. It was 65 minutes.
That's not
I mean,
bad.
we were there.
Not bad.
It
Yeah.
wasn't too bad. I mean, it was hot that day though, but yeah, we did it and it was a lot of fun. Let's see what else. Let's see. Oh, we went to Disney Springs that night because I was like, I'm going to eat at Disney Springs, and I'm not a big shopper, but saw it as an opportunity. So we went down there, just walked. It was about a 10-15 minute walk, 10-minute walk, maybe 15, depending on how fast you walk. And that night we had Pam and I, because Mallory stayed with her friends back at the hotel. We had polite pig, and that's my first time having it.
I still haven't eaten there. I'm dying to though.
Oh, so good. I will say, now, Pam, you've been there? Polite pig?
Probably like 4 or 5 times. Yeah.
So, and I know Rikki, there's like an angry pig or something in Atlanta.
Ravenous pig, and it's in Orlando too. But yeah, there's one here in Atlanta. I need to get there too.
I was trying to explain it to Pam. I was like, I know there's other kind of pigs in other cities. Like, is it the hungry pig, the polite pig, mean pig, angry pig? I don't know. So, yeah, we went there. And the thing was, like, the line was like crawling. Pam, I don't know if this was like an off. It was super busy. It was a Thursday night at Disney Springs. It was packed. But the line, we probably waited in line an hour to place our order. I mean, is that normal? Is it super slow? What have you seen?
I've seen everything in between, actually, with that. We typically end up going there for lunch because that's just, it happens to be, or like an early dinner or a super late dinner, because we tend to eat at really odd times. But that place is solid. And I'll let Mike tell you what he got, but I know he didn't get the one thing I'm going to mention. And the one thing you have to get is the Brussels sprouts. I am telling you.
Nope.
Boom. They're good. They are so good. Everything we've had there is good. And they have mixed drinks on tap, my friend. On tap. Nice. So anyways. Nice. So Mike, what did you get? Because I'm
looking at it right now and it's killing me because it's dinner time. I got the half a chicken.
Yeah.
And I got they have like a special coleslaw and some mashed potato, or I guess that was mashed potatoes. It was like sweet mashed potatoes or something. It was so good.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. I'm just telling you, if you haven't checked it out, because I don't think this place gets the buzz of like a home. Obviously, it's a counter service.
Right.
You grab your food. They bring it to you, but it's basically like a counter service meal. But it is so good. So good.
Great deal when you're on the dining plan, too.
Yeah. No, couldn't be on the dining plan. So
you just rubbed it in, Pam.
Thanks for rubbing it in, Pam. Appreciate it. No, so then after that, we had because after you have something like barbecue, of course you're at Disney, you got to have something sweet. So we went by Sprinkles and got some cupcakes and brought those back to the room and surprised Mallory. So it was kind of fun. And one of the things that I noticed at Disney Springs, they have that new ticketing center, the ticketing store. So Rikki, what's that all about? We didn't go in. I took a couple pictures of it.
So Disney has introduced this brand new spot where you can go and purchase tickets, upgrade tickets, stuff like that. I think that they did it because the Welcome Center was just hit so hard with people. So I think if you have any ticket issues, they tell you to go to the ticket center. If you have other issues, you can do that at the Welcome Center. So I think that was the point.
So next up, the next morning I get up early. I ran in my same path around Saratoga Springs, had a good time, called another Uber. And again, these Uber rides are starting to get expensive because I do Uber there, Uber back, Uber there. I was taking maybe 4 or 5 Uber rides a day. Wow. And they're, usually about $12 a pop. So I go to the Magic Kingdom again, didn't look at the schedule. They had extra magic hours too. So I was like, we're going to score. So I went in early. I'm by myself again. So I got to get some great pictures on Main Street, got to get a picture of the omnibus, just stuff like that. Went on Space Mountain, no wait, walked on it. Buzz Lightyear, same thing. Then went to Gaston's Cat Tavern and had my breakfast of champions, which is the gigantic cinnamon roll and a Coke Zero. The thing was, like, this was the way I saw it, since I was doing a lot of solo or going around the parks without the girls while they were doing cheerleading stuff. I did a lot of stuff that I don't normally do. I watched the Dapper Dan sing. I watched the welcome people do the trolley show. I went in Hall of Presidents. I actually went in Ye Olde Christmas Shop and looked at some of the ornaments and decorations. Here's one thing that they have. I know these are really popular. Matt Parrish gets this if he's listening from 3028 and Wedway Radio. They have those ceramic Christmas trees that I've been dying to get.
Yes.
Grandma had one. They have those now at that store. And
really?
They're not expensive. They're $59.
That's not bad, all things considered.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So
yeah.
if one of those, and of course you could get it. I would just buy it online probably and not because I mean,
Yeah.
ceramic. I mean, we're going to throw it in my backpack. So
Can you imagine?
In a ride around with you all day.
exactly. I mean, that's just asking for trouble. I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but I can tell you that. So we did that. I went and saw Hall of Presidents, just stuff like that. Splash Mountain, I think I did. There's just no crowds because super early. Then I had to bounce out because we had to meet up with the girls, and we went back to Disney Springs that day for lunch, kind of a late lunch. And that was my first time I had Chicken Guy. Ooh, I like Chicken Guy. Rikki, have you had that one yet?
I have not done Chicken Guy yet. No. So that's what I need to.
It's probably going to be, along with Blaze Pizza, one of your least expensive options for dining on.
Yes, I have heard that. Yeah.
And the thing is, too, it's really, I mean, of course it is chicken strips, and they have other things. One of the people with me had the salad, and she said it was amazing with chopped up chicken on top. But they have like 20 different sauces, and you get to pick a couple or three depending on your meal, and you can buy extras. The sauces were really good. Pam, you've checked out Chicken Guy?
I haven't yet. We went over and walked past it, and the line was so long that I was just like, I can't do that today. So we had to try something else. But I've heard really good things about it in terms of, a quick service location and all of the different sauces.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard about these sauces again and again. So I'll have to check it out next time we're down there.
Yeah, donkey sauce was really good. I think that's like his signature, that Guy Fieri. It's his shop.
Right.
Yeah, they have all kinds. And the thing is, I think that's a safe place. I think it's really nice to have a place like a Blaze Pizza, a Deluxe Burger, and like a Chicken Guy, because think about that. I mean, that's going to cover basically even your picky eaters. They're either chips or a burger or a pizza.
Right.
And one of the other nights, I'll just throw us in real quick, kind of out of order, but the next night we went over, we had Deluxe Burger with some of the cheer moms to kind of show them that the only place you can do mobile ordering at Disney Springs currently is Deluxe Burger. So that's a tip. You can mobile order there. And it was really nice because Blaze Pizza is right across the way. So the girls went over to Blaze Pizza. We had Deluxe Burger, and we were right within, almost we could see each other. So that was a nice way for the girls to have just a little bit of freedom. We were just yards away from them.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so that was kind of a nice thing because again, they're at that age, where they kind of want to go do their own thing, and that was kind of nice for them. So the next morning, so that day we went back, and we had cheerleading stuff. The next morning, again, got up, ran around Saratoga Springs. Mallory was getting ready for day one of competition, and I went to the Magic Kingdom to have breakfast again at Gaston's Tavern. Did a bunch of attractions, got to meet a couple listeners, just took a lot of pictures, and did Haunted Mansion, bunch of rides. I really enjoy when I'm there by myself. I will ride rides, but I just like walking around and seeing things, especially first thing in the morning. It's just great to wake up, get a cinnamon roll, and walk around the Magic Kingdom. So that afternoon they cheered at ESPN. The Griffiths came, appreciated that so much. They moved on to finals the next day. That was day one. So to celebrate after that day, I told all the cheer moms, because they were getting ready to go to Bahama Mamas again. They've been there once before. I'm like,
wait, they'd already been there?
I think so. And I'm like, no.
Did you feel like you were in an alternative universe?
Dude, so
what is going on?
I was totally getting punked, is what this was. So I'm like, no. I'm like, I'm telling you, we're going somewhere better tonight. I was like, we are going to a place called Olivia's. It's real. I was like, it's real close. It's right down, because like, it's going to be too far. No, it's like, it's right down the road at Old Key West. It's right down from our hotel. It's actually right past Disney Springs. So I, got a same day reservation. We got them to open up the patio for us. We ate outside. It was beautiful this night. I mean, just gorgeous, except love bugs were everywhere.
Well, yeah.
But buttermilk chicken, everybody everybody raved about the meal. And here's the cool thing, because Mallory was there with like 3 of her friends. We were there with like the cheer parents. So the beauty about going to Old Key West to eat at Olivia's, besides for it's a good value and great food, is that it gave the girls an opportunity to kind of get up and run around. They got to go down by the pool area. They played some shuffleboard. They took some pictures, by the flowers with their cell phones and stuff like that. Like, it was a great opportunity for them to be able to kind of run around and have some fun while we were waiting to get seated and waiting to get our food and stuff like that. And just a solid meal. I mean, I say this a lot, and I don't really want to blow it up too much, but God, Olivia's that may be like in my top 3 restaurants overall at Walt Disney World. I just love it. It's solid every single time. And they all enjoyed it. They loved it a lot.
That's good.
Yeah. Hopefully it gave them a little glimpse, though, into the fact that there really are places on property that would fit their needs. There really, truly are.
Absolutely. And so here's the trick too. I was thinking, because that night I wanted to go to a park. And so we all Ubered over to Old Key West. But then once I was at Old Key West, I could get on a resort bus. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wanted to have a little bit taste of a Disney vacation. So I was like, hallelujah, I get to ride a bus. So they all went back to the hotel. I jumped on a bus and went back to I did a lot of Magic Kingdom. I went to the Magic Kingdom and just rode a bunch of rides and ran around. And let's see, I ended the day. I think I went there because I wanted to have an All-American Sunday, because I see a big picture of that. So, and that night had a bad storm. It was really crazy. So the next morning I get up, run around Saratoga Springs, and I Uber over to Epcot and did, a bunch of stuff, Flower and Garden, got that flatbread that day, the noodles that day. When I left that day, I went to Ample Hills again, had another ice cream cone. This was Cinco de Mayo. Okay, so this was Cinco de Mayo. So this was like Championship Sunday, though. Like, this was, okay, so I just had to get clear of that hotel as fast as I could, because, like, the girls were on edge. The moms were even more on edge. I'm like, I am out of here. Because if you've never been to a cheerleading competition, like, they wear fake hair. Every one of the cheerleaders puts in like this big weave. Like, they all wear fake hair, and it all matches like their real hair. And they got to wear all this makeup and all this. It's crazy. And like, when they're getting ready, it's not pretty all the time. So I'm like, hey, it's Cinco de Mayo. I roll over to Epcot, check out Flower and Garden. And here's the thing. I went to Mexico because at 11 o'clock when it opened, I was just like, shoot, it's Cinco de Mayo. I'm getting a frozen margarita. I'm getting the Fiesta margarita. So I get that. But here's the funny thing. As they opened, because I got that at the margarita stand outside the pyramid, is they opened the big pyramid to go inside. They did a little show, to get everybody fired up, because it was Cinco de Mayo, probably not even really a Mexican holiday, I've heard, but Americans love it. They go in, there was this gigantic group that was rope dropping Cava del Tequila. Like, there was a huge line. Like, they're about to break down the doors. I took pictures. It was awesome. But yeah, Fiesta Margarita right outside. It was beautiful weather. Great way to kick off Cinco de Mayo. Went inside to check out all the stuff in there. And I will say, one of the things I did while I was there, again, I was doing things I don't normally do. I got to see that show with the mariachi band that has Miguel from Coco.
Yeah,
which I haven't seen Coco. Have you guys seen that show?
It's new.
Yes.
Oh, Pam, of course, has seen it because she.
I haven't seen the movie. I know the premise of the movie, and that's why I haven't seen it, because I hate sad movies. And like, kills me. But that show was so well done. I loved it. Like, people were cheering. Like, it was like an unexpected surprise.
It is, and we have a video over it on the Magic for Less Travel's YouTube channel.
It was
just
neat.
like that. Just like that.
It was fun though. I loved it. Like, I did American Adventure that day, just stuff that like Mallory would hem and haw, like, oh, let's keep moving. So, we did that. They cheered that day. That was the last day. That was Championship Sunday. They came in fourth. The girls all cried because they wanted to come in first, second, or third because they get rings and banners for their bedrooms, but they got fourth, of course. But that's okay. I mean, fourth in the country, can't argue with that.
No, that's still awesome. Yeah.
So I think, I can't remember, but Mallory's not in any of these pictures, so she must have gone somewhere with her friends. I don't know. It was still Cinco de Mayo, so I'm like, Pam, I gotta have Mexican food, man. This is my day. Like, if there's a day that my birthday and Cinco de Mayo. So I'm like, we're going to Maya Grill. We're gonna wait. We're gonna do whatever it takes. I get on the app, boom. There's a 7 o'clock ADR, 2 people, no problem. That day, like hours before. So we go over to my favorite place, Maya Grill, have the margarita flights. Those are awesome. Had fajitas and just had a great time. And again, it was just an excuse. I always was trying to make excuses to do things that I like at the resort. So I went to Old Key West. I went to Coronado, and we hung out. We looked in the stores. We walked around the grounds. It was a lot of fun. And we ended the night. That night, the Magic Kingdom was closed. They had a hard ticket event just for the cheerleaders.
Oh,
it was like
nice.
It was like a summit night from 10 to 1 in the morning. It was included with their packages. They got to go to they closed the Magic Kingdom, and they got to go from 10 to 1. Well, we went over to the Magic Kingdom, just Pam and I, until it closed at 10 because we needed something to do after we went to Coronado. And we did a couple rides, and we did like Little Mermaid, nothing big, but we just had a good time. And there's my picture. I'll have to post it of me sitting in that fancy chair at the B on my back. I didn't know it was an expensive chair, Pam. A $15,000 chair. It's really ugly.
I know. It was like when we had toured that or thought about touring it, that was like the big deal that this chair was very, very expensive. So
there you go. I'm high roller there. All right. So the next morning is Monday morning. This is the day we're going to go home, but we scheduled a very late flight so we could have a little fun. We all went together to the Magic Kingdom. I will say one of the things I found out, because I did go to the Magic Kingdom a lot of mornings, is that if you're looking for like a counter service, protein-based breakfast, there's not a lot of options. Like you can get cinnamon rolls and donuts and stuff like that, but like I wanted like something with an egg or some kind of meat because I'd already run. What I did find the last morning was at Sleepy Hollow, there was a waffle that had an egg, ham, tomato, and cheese on it that was awesome, but I didn't find that this morning.
I agree with you.
They have Starbucks. They have it there.
But that line is forever long because it's Starbucks. I feel like a lot of the Disney theme parks don't have a lot of good breakfast items that aren't like super sweet, you know, that have like an egg or something like that on them. I really do feel like they just think, oh, everybody's going to get breakfast outside of, you know, the parks. They're going to go at their resort or, you know, go to IHOP or whatever. And like, I feel like they're missing out on such huge opportunities of offering like a decent breakfast option everywhere. So that's
only the people you were traveling with couldn't have had breakfast at Bahama Breeze. Mike.
I know, right? Exactly.
I could have gone down and got my chicken minis. That'd have been another Uber ride. But okay, so you know, we just, you know, it's at departure day where you're leaving. You're checked out of the hotel, and we were a little on edge because, you know, Magical Express tells you where to be, when to be. They got your luggage squared away. Like we were all on our own, you know, so that was kind of a little unnerving for us. You know, we're used to being under the Disney bubble. But we just rushed around, had a good time, ate lunch at Columbia Harbor House, you know, did a few rides. Of course, as we were leaving, we went to the confectionery, got some candy, some Rice Krispie treats to take for the ride home, stuff like that. But then what we had to do is we had to take an Uber from the Contemporary back to the B to get our luggage, because our luggage was like stored with luggage services, just like you do at a Disney resort. But this Uber driver was terrible. So we got a different Uber from the B to the hotel or to the airport. When I totaled it all up, okay, so it's kind of, we're going to wrap this up. Just some final thoughts on staying offsite rather than being at a value. We probably spent, I want to guess, between $300 and $400 on Ubers when you include the tips. Because I went a lot of places and I took an Uber everywhere. I could have taken a bus, I get that, but it would have killed a lot of time. I will say with Ubers, though, I was there like boom, lickety split. It was really kind of nice to be dropped off up front. You're there really quickly, but I mean, that's $300 or $400. That's kind of the hidden cost of staying offsite versus onsite. The other big thing, and this is maybe just me, Rikki, I want to get your thoughts on this. I totally kind of felt like a second-class citizen while I was there. I was like a day guest. I wasn't, and I know this is probably just my perspective from how I've gone the last decade at Walt Disney World. We always stay on site, whether it's a value or moderate deluxe for a few times. But I just felt like I wasn't in the magic, because maybe it's because we do this podcast and I work as a travel agent. Like I'm always talking about, it's the immersion of a Disney vacation. It's the 24/7-ness of it. You know, it's the waking up for a sunrise run around your resort that's got a path that's made for runners. And that's just, you have cast members that are good morning you all the time. Even the people that are whacking the weeds and pulling the weeds and cutting the grass, you know, they're giving you a good morning. I didn't feel any of that. And while I know that a lot of people do stay off site and it's budgetary reasons, I just think that I would have saved money staying at an All-Star, Pop Century, big picture, Magical Express, resort transportation, which is very efficient. People don't like riding the buses. You know what? Those buses are efficient. I like them. So that was kind of my final thoughts. I would never intentionally stay off site again. That's just me, because it detracted from my overall perception of my trip. So Rikki, I know you do this because you have good reasons, but what do you say to that?
No, I get what you're saying. I guess at this point, I'm so used to staying off site that it doesn't really bother me. You know, for you, it was your first time. So, you know, when it's your first time staying off site and you traditionally stay on site all the time, it's a big change. It's a big deal. For me, like I don't have to pay parking because I have an annual pass. So, you know, that part, I actually have my car all the time with me. So, you know, I save money that way. But I've even done a rental car, and, you know, you really have to look. I usually get really good deals on rental cars when I fly into Orlando. So, I mean, you know, I would have probably looked at the budget of how much it would have cost to have the rental car and, you know, do that than having the Uber rides. So I know you have to pay parking, you know, to get into the parks if you don't have an annual pass. But, you know, I still would have looked to see the cost difference of what that would be. But I really don't, I guess I don't feel super disappointed going off site. There are some places that I like to go offsite that, are different. There's a cookie dough place in Celebration that I've gone, and go late at night, or I'll go to the outlets. So I still get like weird, fixes that are still Disney to me, even though the cookie dough place isn't. But like I'll go to the outlet mall and I'll go to that Character Warehouse, store and shop. But I go at night. I go at night when nobody else is there. So I figured out the hack on that one. Thank you very much. I'll do something like that, or it doesn't bother me because I'm going literally to sleep, and then I'll go right back into the parks, and I don't feel like a second class citizen now. Brian and I did, as of like today, recording this, we did look at things and ended up deciding, because we were going to have to pay for our offsite stay when we were staying offsite for 4th of July. Brian just couldn't get an employee rate, or a comp rate, so we had to pay the employee rate. And by the time we looked at everything that we'd have to pay to stay there versus on site, we actually decided that it ended up being a little more economical to stay on site, get extra magic hours, get that 60-day window, which I know we're well in, but that's okay for 4th of July, but we'll still be able to beat the 30-day people. So like, for that, it actually is ending up costing us a little bit less. So we really just had to play with the numbers. And I think that that's the biggest thing. If you're looking at staying on site versus off site, play with the numbers and look and see what rates it's going to be, what is going to be the best for you. If you are okay with leaving the Disney bubble like we are, we have no problems with it.
I think here's the thing too, I learned, I'm gonna close this out with Pam, is that folks that are going for like a first vacation, they really don't know the difference between like a Disney vacation, a Six Flags vacation, or going to, Branson or Dollywood or whatever. I don't think it's going to affect them so much because you don't know what you don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I think it hurt me so much because I know what I know, and I know my expectations of my Disney vacation. And when I had this conversation with my Pam, my wife, I told her that if it meant that I had to save for an extra 6 months, and, delay the trip by half a year, I would absolutely delay the trip to be able to stay on site at a value, because the word value is there. Staying on site, there's an intangible part of it that I missed. Like, I did feel like a second class citizen. I know you said you didn't, and I get that because you're used to it and you got more options. You had options. You can go off site, save a little money, but my Disney vacations are all about the immersion, the on site, just Disney wrapping their arms around me and enjoying it for a week. Pam, close this out. I mean, these arguments, because I've heard them and we've discussed this for the last decade here on the show, but when you live it for 4 or 5 days, it really does kind of put things in perspective.
Mm-hmm. It absolutely does. And, oftentimes when I think about this as the owner of a travel agency, what do I want to have happen? Well, I want the guests to have the best opportunity to have the best vacation, period, end of story. And I feel like an on-site Walt Disney World Resort does that for so many reasons. First of all, there's the consistency. There's the fact that we're an authorized Disney vacation planner, which means we have a relationship with Disney that if something goes wrong, we have someone that we can reach out to. There and make sure that gets fixed. That's important. But it also is all those intangible things. Of course, they're listed as benefits like extra magic hour and free transportation and transportation to and from the airport and all of those things. But you have to understand that even the Disney Springs resorts, which are really arguably some of the closest offsite resorts that you can find, that transportation is way different than Disney transportation, even from the value resorts that only have access via bus. They are scheduled times. Some of them drop you off at a central location, like in Epcot, and then it's up to you to use Disney transportation to get to the other places. That's a huge difference. And let me tell you, we have people, especially who are frequent travelers, who come to us and they say, I want to have free breakfast at whatever hotel I'm staying at, because they travel all the time and they're used to staying at a place that has free breakfast. And we're charged with the task of explaining why they really don't. They are really going to be better off for all these reasons doing that. And that has nothing to do with what, the cost is or anything like that, because, our agents frequently will get somebody a better deal or tell them, hey, don't do this to help the guests save money. What it has to do with is our desire to see people in the best position to have a fantastic vacation. And for my money and for the money of most of our guests, that's absolutely at a Walt Disney World resort. So,
a lot of Disney's about feelings, and intangibles and stuff that's, you really can't say that's worth $7.99 or that's worth, $15 a night or what have you. I mean, to me, that's why we can do this podcast, because when I hear somebody on a Monday talk about their recent trip, and we hear about, just the dad and his daughter walking down Main Street. I mean, that's not worth $35. There's no price for that. That's a memory for a lifetime. And I think that and Pam really says this a lot on the show, is that the resorts are just as much a part of the magic as the 4 theme parks. And of course, when you're staying off site, you're going to get the 4 theme parks almost at the same level. Because once I got into the Magic Kingdom, it was just like I was at the Polynesian. It didn't matter. They don't really delineate there. But it was that if I stayed at the Polynesian, I was taking a boat across, the water, and my voyage had started, or I'm on a futuristic monorail arriving, instead of an Uber, like kicking you out of the Contemporary, hey, see you, bud, make sure you tip me. There's something to that. And I'm not saying that I'm not downing people that stay off site. I get there's reasons for that, but it's just like, that's just not me anymore. It's weird. It's shocking when you're not used to it.
Right. Let's face it. We're sort of experts in this field, right? This is what we know. We don't know lots of math or maybe a ton of history or,
by golly, we know Disney. Yes.
Absolutely right. And there is a reason. Mike said it really well when he said there's something about a feeling. It's really hard to put a price tag or even describe to someone else. You know what? When I step on Disney property, I feel a certain way. There's a smell to it. There's a sound to it. The cast members are there. There's all these things, and it adds a ton to my vacation.
I can't disagree with that anymore. I mean, wait, I can't agree with that. No. Basically, I agree, because what I'm saying, when we were thinking about our trip in July, and Brian and I were first discussing it, and he said, what if we stayed at Pop Century? And I was like, I kind of got excited.
It's fun. It's fun. It's a part of it's another place to have fun.
Exactly. I mean, I don't get me wrong. I have zero problem staying off site. You know that. But when he mentioned about staying at Pop Century, I was kind of like, oh gosh, that is home. There is that intangible, like Pam was saying, about being there, and it did make me excited. And I didn't want to show my hand too much to him though. Like I didn't want to be like, yes, let's stay at Pop Century. But like in my head, I was screaming. Yes.
Rikki's like secretly going, yes.
Yeah.
It had to be this idea.
So bottom line, I know we're running way long, but I'll just say, the thing is, for one thing, I know that we're blessed to have the opportunity to stay on site. That's something that I never forget, that we're very, very fortunate and lucky to do that. And the thing is, we got to go down and this was a bonus trip for us. The girls made cheerleading championships. I wasn't going to go the first weekend of May. I got to go to the Magic Kingdom, Epcot, the studios, and Animal Kingdom when I wouldn't have gotten to, and I got to go to Disney Springs. The thing was too, I appreciated Disney Springs because it was so close. I went there more often, got the Deluxe Burger, Fly Pig, and Chicken Guy. I got to try things I wouldn't have tried otherwise. So all in all, it was a great trip. I'm not trying to be negative at all, but I just want to put a perspective on it from somebody that's used to staying on site to off site. It's a little bit different. So, different isn't always bad, but I would always pick on site. And there's a lot of reasons for that. All right, we're going to get out of here. Let's get on with your weekend and kick your summer off. So thank you for hanging with us on this very long show. Today's show is brought to you by the folks over at the Magic for Less Travel. So when it comes time for that next Disney vacation, whether it's to Walt Disney World, out to Disneyland, of course, you got a little Star Wars stuff happening here very, very soon now. Disney Cruise Line, or even even Adventures by Disney, drop by the magicforless.com. Check out the great site. This is a great site for planning either way. If you just want to go to a destination, the information is at the magicforless.com. Check out everything there, the specials, the photos of the resorts, the itineraries for the Disney Cruise Line, what have you. And while you're there, fill out that free no obligation quote form and let them know you heard about them here on the show. And an agent will get back to you right away and get that planning started, because it's never any obligation, but you can see some availability, some numbers, see if it's going to work out, change things, modify things till we get it right there for you perfectly. So check them out today over at themagicforless.com. Also, please use our Amazon affiliate link at beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon for all those summer things you need to buy this weekend. And of course, check us out on social. Rikki's going to be down at Walt Disney World, so check it out at BeOurGuestPod and at BeOurGuestMike, and of course at Rikki Nibs for Rikki, and at TMFLT Pam for Pam as well. We've got a great Facebook page at facebook.com/BeOurGuestPodcast, and of course, check us out on YouTube too. All right, long show. Time to get out of here. Go have some fun with your friends and family. So for Rikki and Pam, I'm Mike, wishing you a great weekend and an awesome summer. Whatever you do, stay safe, and we'll see you real soon.
Boom.
Bam.
That wasn't negative. I didn't want to get negative, but it wasn't.
No, it wasn't negative. I think it was truthful. It is what it is. It is what it is. Look, I've stayed in hotels all over the world. Yep. There is something about stepping on Disney property. There just is.
I agree.
It was a hotel. It was a hotel across the street from Disney Springs. So that's basically what it was.
Yeah, that's fine. Yep.
All right, time to edit and go get some TV.
All right.
All right. See you all.
See you guys. Have a good one.
See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.